Republican from Florida. Well, after the new year, the Dems obviously going to be in high gear. We think the focus will still be FBI and Russia. Now, you actually allege extreme pro-Hillary bias with respect to this FBI situation, and you want to see some action taken.
Well, absolutely, Charles, and that's not just my statement or my belief. These are the actual emails from the current Deputy Director of the FBI who's just announced his retirement, Andrew McCabe, deeming the Hillary Clinton investigation an HQ special or a headquarters special. You know, Charles, in 2018, we have every reason to be optimistic. A booming economy, stock market that's on the rise. We're slowing illegal immigration and we're slashing regulations. And oh, by the way, we just passed the biggest tax cut in American history. The problem is that our opportunity and our prosperity could be limited if this presidency is called into question by a sham of a Russia investigation, and right now, that's what it is.
So how does it ultimately get resolved? Because I do sense also that Americans on both sides of the aisle, certainly apolitical types, are sort of leery of more investigations. How long do we investigate the investigators who investigate the investigators? Where does it end?
Well, the first thing we need to do is acknowledge the fact that there was absolutely no collusion between the president's campaign and the Russian Federation. I mean, I think now Mueller's trying to make the allegation that we were all on the same internet together, so there must be some connection. That's ludicrous. The next thing we need to do is we need to change the laws so that this never happens again, so that you never have an opportunity for someone like James Comey to take the Hillary Clinton investigation out of the hands of the very competent professionals at the Washington field office and instead use a process that really departs from the standard procedures. And so I think with the passage of some transparency legislation that provides adequate oversight over the Department of Justice and the FBI, we can move past all of this and really get to what you described, an infrastructure bill that'll rebuild this great country, and hopefully we can pay for that infrastructure bill with some welfare reform and entitlement reform so that we don't continue to deficit spend, but we actually solve some of the workforce challenges that many of our small businesses feel.
Do you worry at all, though, that when you start to talk about the inability to spur these sort of investigations, under the premise perhaps that they're going to be independent and honest, and also the harsh rhetoric against the FBI, that you make it harder for rank-and-file folks and the intelligence community to do their job? And do we really want a nation that has that low lack of confidence in their intelligence community?
Well, it's absolutely essential that we have trust and confidence in our intelligence community and in all of our democratic institutions. But here you have a circumstance where Robert Mueller went fishing in the Never Trump aquarium to curate his team. I mean, I don't know if Robert Mueller was grossly negligent or extremely careless in putting together this particular group of people investigating the president, but the American people are now aware of that bias. They will not tolerate any attempt to remove or undermine this president. And meanwhile, the American people are winning. You look at the economic metrics, you look at a variety of other metrics.
We talk about that every day, but could there be some sort of a crisis if Robert Mueller, you want Mueller fired, right, Representative Gaetz?
I do.
If he is fired, could that change the entire dynamics of our country? Because a large part of economic success is sort of enthusiasm. It's an enthusiasm that, you know, they call it the virtuous cycle. It's hard to manufacture. When you get it, you don't want to lose it.
No, you're absolutely right, and that enthusiasm is alive and well with the American people, which is what is most important to President Trump.
Does it stay there if the president were to
fire
fire Robert Mueller, who, and by the way, President Trump has said on more than one occasion...
No, the Attorney General should fire Robert Mueller.
Okay,
that's not the president's job. It's the Attorney General's job.
Okay, because President Trump has said that was not his intention, so we should be clear on that. But you still think it's the right thing to do, even though it could have dire consequences to the confidence overall in everything about the government?
I don't think that that would create the dire consequences. I think dire consequences are created when you have the possibility of this Mueller probe lasting for years and undermining the legitimacy of the duly elected President of the United States. I think that's the far greater risk. I think having the Attorney General step up, acknowledge this investigation has produced nothing, ending it, and then let's move on to the very important work we have to improve quality of life for the American people.
Well, the longer it has lingered on, the less credibility it has gotten. So this may be something that they're probably pondering on their own right now. Representative Gaetz, always great to have you on. Thank you very much.
Good to be on, Charles.
Hey, let's take the market scan here.